Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
All your questions will be answered. Roll tape.
Live from the former Institute of Future Technology in Orlando, Florida, you're listening to What the Flux with her host, Anthony Furtado, Brooke Bromery, Caitlin Larkin, and Eugene Schnee.
Welcome back. Here we are with episode 2 of What the Flux podcast. As always, I'm Anthony, and I'm joined here with Caitlin, Brooke, and Eugene. How are you guys doing today?
Hanging. Yay, great.
Amazeballs.
Awesome. So today we have one big thing that we're going to be doing, which is going to be an interview with a very special guest that we have. We also have a little bit of news that we're going to bring to you. So we're going to go into the news first, kind of let you guys know what's going on in the Back to the Future world. And then Eugene. breaking.
Oh my gosh.
No, but Eugene, tell us who we have in store today. Who are we doing this interview with?
Well, we are going to be having with ourselves. I thought it would be pretty cool an experience to share with everybody. As much as we love, like we mentioned in the first episode, as much as we love Back to the Future, you never really hear stories from somebody who actually worked in the movie. Somebody was actually there, even as an extra. And I have my good friend Janet Levengood. We've been good friends for a long time. She actually was part of the movie. She actually was in Back to the Future Part 2, specifically in the scene when, remember the annoying guy? I think that guy took his wallet. I think he took his wallet.
I think he took his wallet.
Nobody even remembers the guy's name. They just know it. Like, I'm pretty sure
he's a character actor, but he's like in everything.
In every single movie.
He's
literally.
like in everything ever.
And he'll remember, always be known as... He took his wallet.
I think he took his wallet.
And it's really cool that she was part of this. She was part of a particular scene with something that I want to let her talk about her own story because it's pretty amazing. And knowing from somebody who actually worked in the movie, the experience of knowing with the hanging out with the actors and all that stuff, it's something that I feel like our listeners are going to really enjoy. And I think it's gonna be a cool little surprise for everyone, and so I'm really excited for you guys to know. I already know the stories, but I don't want to ruin it for everybody because there's a really funny part that she's gonna tell that you probably all seen this scene so many times, but you never really noticed that one little part, and it's gonna blow your mind. Blowing effect, please. It's gonna blowing your mind away.
Awesome. Yeah, so we definitely have that to look forward to, so please stick around for that. But in the meantime, Caitlin, what do we got going on in the world?
So I feel like because there's been so much happening since the beginning of the year, I thought maybe we would just go through just a little bit of all the stuff that's happened up to the present time of this week as we record. First and foremost, the Toy Fair happened. Toy Fair 2020 happened, where the big reveal was from NECA that we got some Back to the Future toys, and I love toys. I'm such a huge toy collector. So they're going to have a couple of Marty McFlys going on, but then what's really cool is they are making toys of Back to the Future, the animated series. And this is the first time that they are having toys, at least to my knowledge, unless, wasn't there, McDonald's toys in the 90s? Like kids'
something
meal
like
toys
that.
or something like that?
Yeah.
Probably. I think I ate them.
And then, of course, Funko Pops are coming out with 35th anniversary Funkos.
I cannot
which
wait.
I added up how much it is to pre-order all of them on Amazon. There's 8 Funkos in all, including Doc with the clock tower.
Oh my god.
And it comes to $101.
Important safety tip. Thank you, Caitlin.
Really
Yes.
not that much.
So it's really not
honestly.
that bad. For 8 pops, it's only $101. And then also Funko Games is coming out with the Back to the Future game. And I'm excited for that. I think we should maybe, try and weasel our way into getting one, and maybe we can play the game on an episode one day. I think that'd be really fun.
Oh, for sure. I love that.
And then, of course, the one thing that really blew up the internet, and I want to get your opinions on this, the deep fake with Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland.
Oh, my God.
That blew up the interwebs like crazy. And so many people thought it was legit. It's like, y'all, it's a compooper.
Honestly, though, it was so good.
It looked
could've
really
fooled
good.
Me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
If I wasn't so familiar. So.
I honestly, I I don't know if I ever want to see a Back to the Future 4, but if
I don't.
No
anyone,
way.
if anyone was ever going to, I would be okay with Tom Holland and RDJ because
100%.
Yeah.
they did look incredible in that scene.
You guys remember there was that rumor that supposedly Justin Bieber was going to
Never.
do it?
Oh
Ever.
my God, I
God.
remember
You-
that from a few years
Hollywood,
ago.
you listen to me. Never.
Don't do it, please.
Nah, Justin Bieber's got a mustache now. I can't even grow a mustache.
No.
I mean, he's
Don't give
got
him
a
that much
stash, man.
credit.
He's got like a porn stash going on there.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
that is
Ugh.
insane.
I also don't like how the facial hair, like the color of the facial hair, doesn't match the. I don't like that.
I get it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's
Yeah.
like back,
It's weird.
there's just some movies that you should not even touch, and Back to the Future is definitely one
Oh,
of those.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No remakes, no additions. Like it just needs to stay how it stays because
Yeah.
they will ruin it. They
Yeah.
literally will, whether they think they will or not.
I mean, I'll give major props to Tom and Rob. That's how I call them because we're buddies.
Oh yeah, you guys are first name
Yeah.
basis.
I mean,
my God,
sorry,
best
Bobby. Bobby, yeah.
Bobby J.
Which, by the way, Robert, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry I had to, I'm sorry I had to cancel our plans, but I do have a podcast to do. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, he's very upset about it.
It's
But
so
anyway,
gracious of you.
you're welcome. This is what I do for our listeners. I stood up to Robert Downey Jr. to be
All
here.
two of
Wow.
our listeners.
Wow.
I do. Anyway, it's just one of those things that, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it's amazing how they recreated the whole thing. But at the same time, it's like, do you really want to have another I mean,
Never.
because
I
here's the
don't
thing, you
want
have to remember this. This is what 2-3 minutes long?
Yeah.
Can you imagine seeing that? And I guess, again, you have that nostalgia, you have that excitement, but can you really see a whole movie with these two guys?
No, absolutely not. It's not the same.
No way.
No.
But
By any
everyone
means.
thought it was legit gonna happen, and that Tom Holland was offered the role, and then people turned it down. But then thankfully, Bob Gale, always said that over his dead body that they would make another Back to the Future or reboot it or anything. But I love his quote, how he said that it's like putting your child into prostitution. And a lot of people got really butthurt about that, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, it's the perfect
Yeah.
way to describe it. It is like putting your child, something you love dearly, into prostitution. So you go, Bob Gale. I love you. Next, I know we said we weren't going to really.
Well, I apologize
Talk.
to all the prostitutes.
Hey,
We do
you
not
do you.
endorse prostitutes on this channel.
I know we weren't going to talk about the situation that's happening.
Coronavirus.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
geez.
wanted to put it lightly, but a Back to the Future event got canceled because of coronavirus. The TCM Classic Film Festival, which was supposed to feature Leah Thompson, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, and Bob Gale, got canceled. It was supposed to happen April 16th through the 19th, and it was going to be a 35th anniversary celebration, and that got canceled, so that sucks. But
Boo.
then also this week we got the announcement of Michael J. Fox's 4th book, No Time Like the Future, An Optimist Considers Mortality. And that's going to be coming out November 17th.
I still need to pre-order. I
Yeah.
have to get on it.
You know what? I'm actually really upset with myself that I didn't know that he had written 3 other books already.
I honestly didn't either until
Yeah,
I've
okay,
read
thank you. I don't
2.
feel so bad.
I've read 2 of his books. I didn't know there was a 3rd one. That
I
I'm missing.
didn't know there was any until right this second.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, totally knew that. Wow, what a bad Back to the Future fan I am.
Oh, is that
Crap.
why you looked at me all weird when I said in the last episode that I did a book report on his book?
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I did one too.
Yeah, like definitely 5 years ago. What? I don't know.
No, but when Michael J. Fox was being interviewed by People magazine, he said, "What's exciting for me is that the new book is less memoir and more perspective. Who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? I don't want to give anything away, but I think I've figured it out." And that's just so badass, isn't it?
He's
Yeah.
always had such
Oh, I love that
such
man.
a positive
He's
outlook.
very philosophical
Yeah.
for sure.
And real quick
Yeah.
on the topic of books, I know Eugene, you've been reading another book that you kind of wanted to talk about real quick.
I have.
What's going on there?
Well, I actually had a chance to read a book by the author. His name is Kessing Gaines. The book is called We Don't Need Roads, The Making of the Back to the Future Trilogy. It's actually a really, really good book. I'm a big reader. I love to anything with a good story. And obviously, when I saw this book, it was about Back to the Future. It definitely got my attention.
You just saw the logo and it was like mine now.
Pretty much. And then, but then I realized I had to pay for it when the cops came over. And oh yeah, I forgot about that. But whoopsie.
You would.
But I actually a couple things about this book that really got my attention was the fact that, obviously, what can you talk about a movie, about one of the most famous trilogies in the world that has not been talked already? But one of the things that really got my attention was the fact that the book goes really into deep about Eric Stoltz. As you guys know, Eric Stoltz was the original cast member for well, not the original, but it was he did film a lot of the sequences for Marty McFly.
Homeboy was there for what, 6 weeks?
Ish.
It wasn't even that long.
6 weeks of filming.
Filming, and Stoltz definitely nothing to hate on Stoltz. I mean, first of all, I don't know if you guys have seen some of his movies. Like I remember Mask that he did.
Sure,
he was unbelievable. But the problem with Stoltz was that he's a method actor. Do you guys know what a method actor is?
Yes.
Well, for those people, ding, 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 ding. Method actor, process by which a performer
We're going to invest in the
uses
soundboard.
a number of techniques to embody the thoughts and feelings of the character he or she is portraying in order to achieve a more realistic performance. So that being said, a lot of in the 80s, there was a lot of a lot of the actors wanted to be who was going to be the next Marlon Brando, who was going to be the next Robert De Niro, etc. And a lot of these actors were taking this method acting way too serious. Back to the Future was never meant to be a serious movie. Back to the Future was always meant to be a movie about a comedy, something about with a good story. But at the same time, it was you needed a leading actor that could do comedy and at the same time be make sure to do the delivery. And unfortunately, Stoltz was not the person for that. It's unfortunate because there's a lot of factors in the book. When you read the book, you really get why Stoltz did not work out for this role, and why Michael J. Fox was perfect for the role.
Yeah. So that among, I'm sure, many other stories. So definitely give that book a look. And then, Caitlin, is there anything else that we got going on?
Yeah, we just got a couple more things really quick before we get to our interview with Janet. Leah Thompson is set to direct a movie called Sisters Before Misters. This is apparently a story of a struggling millennial who's an aspiring singer-songwriter who offers to plan her disapproving estranged sister's wedding despite having no experience, but with the hope of bringing her family back together. So this is going to be Leah Thompson's second directorial for like the big screen.
Oh, okay.
But of course, she's done so many TV shows throughout the last years. My favorite being The Goldbergs. I love that she's directed episodes of that show. And then, of course, the big one is that Back to the Future, the musical, officially premiered.
Oh my God, I'm so excited
it
about
premiered this week on March 11th, but of course it's been in previews for the last month.
Yeah.
And guys, the FOMO
I'm
is so
jealous.
strong. This musical needs to come to America.
Yeah.
Like
Because
yesterday.
I took a trip to England already, just
Same.
back in October.
Same.
And I can't afford to go again.
Yeah.
So it just needs to get here, and it needs to get here fast. I need to.
You're being
have
really
seen
selfish,
this
London.
yesterday. Well, it's in Manchester right now, and then after the 17th, I believe, it's then going to go to London's West End.
Oh, okay.
But what was really cool is that they've been posting a lot on social media during the previews, but for the actual premiere on the 11th, Bob Zemeckis actually showed up.
Oh my
He
God.
done showed up.
Of course he did.
When we thought we bumped into him at Universal, it wasn't the case.
It wasn't him?
It wasn't
it was
him.
Not.
Are you sure?
I'm
was not
positive.
him.
You kinda looked that up, man.
We saw a Bob Zemeckis look-alike when we were doing our photo shoot last week.
And the absolute best part of it too was that he was staring from like in front of the Diagon Alley area. He was staring over at Simpsons. I was like, oh, just reminiscent about his baby used to be right there.
No, he looked just like the guy.
So you telling me that the guy we were stalking at Universal was some just random stranger looking at us saying,
He just looked
Yeah,
like
that's why
him.
we went back
and
home.
he was just every time he was looking at us, we thought, wow, those are my biggest fans. He was probably saying, honey, call the cops.
No, not him. Wasn't him.
Well, once again, life, you have disappointed me. Life.
But that's all we've got for Back to the Future news for this week.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. But like we said, we do have an incredible interview coming up with Janet Levengood. We're going to get right to that right now.
Well, folks. We promised you a surprise, and we do deliver. We actually have a really good friend of mine, Miss Janet.
Whoa! Really good friend, huh?
There's a long story why we call each other Mushu. That will be for another episode. And so we're calling you Janet.
That's totally fine.
But now I want to know about Mushu.
It's a great story, but it's definitely going to break hearts to kids. And we're working at Disney, and I have no idea why. This is the day I think I realized that I needed a hearing aid, because I don't know why. I was friends with Tigger, and I went to this break room, and I remember that she was there, and I don't know why. I thought she said this break room is for Mushu. So I will literally go all the way down to the tunnel area. It was a long way to go out, and I was changing there, and she goes, "Why are you doing all the way here?" And I was like, "Well, you told me to come here because upstairs is for Mushu." What? It was a misunderstanding. Mushu wasn't even there.
It was indeed.
And I literally was changing my costume all the way from there, and ever since that day we call each other Mushu.
It's a term of endearment, definitely.
I needed to know that.
That's very cute.
So that even calling her Janet, even earlier, I was like,
That's why when you guys called him Eugene earlier, I'm like, because I don't call him that ever.
Yeah, we call each other
That's
Mushu.
his name. I'm well aware.
Yeah.
of it.
So for the rest of the interview, I'm just gonna call you Mushu.
Okay, cool.
Is that okay?
That's
Is that okay? Is that okay?
whatever you'd like.
All right.
I'm going to call her Janet because I don't think we're on a Mushu level yet.
Yeah, we're not there. We're not there.
I'd like to be.
Okay,
You
we'll
seem
get
really
there.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna call it Jack, because our listeners are gonna be like, who is being interviewed? All right. So Miss Janet here was actually a cast member for the movie Back to the Future Part 2. She has a great story to tell, and I'm just gonna let her tell her part of the story because it's something that's gonna blow everybody's mind away. So, Miss Janet, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for
Hi,
being here.
friends. Well, thank you for having me here. Am I actually just starting with that story, or are we starting with that, or
yeah.
do we have any questions leading up to the?
Yeah.
Well, we have some
Infamous
stuff
story?
prepared.
Well,
Okay, great.
Well, pretty much. I mean, first of all, how do you got your start in acting?
Okay. Well, I used to live in LA, so when you hear Los Angeles, that's kind of what you think about.
Yeah.
Acting.
Of course.
So, right after school, a bunch of my friends and I, we went down to LA and Hollywood, and we signed up with a bunch of different talent agencies there. And back then, because this was 89, 90, I did it for a couple of years, it was basically they took a picture of you and you filled in all your info, and they put it in their big database, which of course was a file back then. Totally different now because I still kind of do it. But yeah, basically there was a hotline that you called every day. Every day you call this hotline, or they called you. It worked both ways. But the hotline would be like, this is what we need today. We need people for blah, 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 blah.
Nice.
And that's kind of how it worked. We were with about 2 different agencies. So we got calls, and we made calls ourselves. So sometimes we were double booked. That happens sometimes. But it was a couple of friends of mine that we all did it as a group.
Nice. And that's how you got the call for Back to the Future
The
Part
Back
2?
to the Future one, we had worked on the Wonder Years that day.
Oh.
Oh, you were doing Wonder Years?
Oh, yeah, it was a fun show to work on. That was a lot of fun. I came out with this big old beehive, but that's another story.
Amazing.
Boy, that was hard to get out of my hair, guys. But we had come home from that. We had been shooting that all day down in LA, and we just, on a whim, we thought, let's just make a call because we weren't really tired or anything. And sure enough, they needed people in Whittier, which was about 20 minutes from where we lived, for Back to the Future 2. And we were like, what? Back to the Future 2? Yeah, we'll be there. So
Wow.
signed up for the call, and we went on down there and did our thing.
All because
That's
you weren't
amazing.
tired. I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did they actually ask you to do any changes to yourself, like maybe cut your hair or something like that? Or?
So, funny story on that. I just had to do that recently for The Right Stuff, which is coming out this year. It's going to be on,
Nice
on
promo.
Nat Geo.
Okay.
But for Back to the Future, I did not have to cut my hair. but they did do a lot to me. They did.
Like what?
Like, they curled my hair, and they had it, like, I have very straight hair, as you can tell. This has pretty much been my hair my entire life. They took it, and they put big rollers in it, and they curled it, and they had it, as you could see in that clip we saw earlier, it was literally, like, rolled up like this after they had teased the heck out of it. They did all my makeup, and when they found out I was on frame right behind the Michael in that shot, they weren't really happy with my breasts, so they came in with some pads, and they padded me up, and they powdered my, powdered my chest all up, and I knew, I'm gonna be in this scene. Really working on me here. And my friends that were with me that night, they weren't even seen. It was so sad. That happened all the time, and I felt so bad. My one friend, she always made this joke about, Rhonda, that's her name, I love you, Rhonda, hide under a table, because we're using Janet in this frame. It was such a joke this time. I felt so bad. But anyway, so that's kind of, they did change my appearance.
They did change your appearance?
Yes.
Now, here's the thing about it. Were you, what was exactly your role? Like, what's...
It's called a background artist or extra. They basically, they'll put like party goer or dance goer or whatever. It's never actually like a name per se, but for that it was like a dance goer. That's pretty cool. And so they'll tell you before you come, like, they'll be like, well, if you have anything for a prom dress, go ahead and bring that in. Which I did. That was my own dress.
Oh, really?
Okay.
But they put the sweater on me, and the shoes were definitely their shoes. They were wooden, high heels.
Oh my gosh.
Horrible, because they were open toe, which will come into play later. Open toe. Remember that when I relate my story to you later.
Beautiful. Well, speaking of that, I mean, obviously the main question is like, did you have a chance to interact with some of the main cast members or producers?
In a lot of different shows and movies I've worked on, I have great stories I could tell. I know those are for another time, but I have 3 instances in where people have either picked me up, moved me, or hurt me. One of them was Patrick Swayze, one of them was Tony Danza, and one of them was Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox!
Our hero, Michael.
Michael J. Fox, folks, right there. And to be specifically, the scene that Janet is talking about is the scene with, as we previously mentioned too, with what's Ms.
I think he has that guy's wallet.
What do you think?
That's exactly right. I cannot hear the word wallet, not with that scene.
Every time Janet hears that, she goes like, "Oh no, not again, not again."
Exactly.
How many takes did they took?
I would say that scene was probably about 5 or 6.
Okay.
It took the whole night. We were there for the
When you
entire
say
night.
that scene, were you maybe casting like another scene as well that maybe didn't see the light of day, or?
No, for that particular movie, that was the only scene I worked on.
Okay.
Okay.
And the scene obviously we're talking about specifically is right after George punches Biff. Yeah.
Correct.
Twice.
Yes.
Right after George punches Biff and he falls to the floor and Marty celebrates. Marty runs towards Biff, and that's where you see the guy with his wallet.
Yes.
And Marty's taking his wallet, and you see a bunch of teenagers running towards, and you can clearly see when you see Janet in her, what was the color of your dress?
It's like a dusty rose.
Like a dusty
Yeah,
rose.
like a mauve dusty rose. Yeah.
And she comes over, and
Yes.
right behind Michael J. Fox, you can literally see Janet's body right there. And that's when he's like, I know CPR, I know CPR.
Correct,
What is
yes,
CPR? That being said, what was the experience doing that part of the filming? That part of the filming right there with Michael J. Fox.
What I remember the most was my shoes were so uncomfortable. Oh my goodness, they were these wooden high-heeled shoes, like I mentioned earlier, and they were open-toed. And here's the thing that happened. They did the first take of it, and I'm standing right behind him, and he stepped on my toes as he's going off frame. That's fine.
Which you can actually see in the movie.
Yes. So when they tried to set it up, okay, shoot, go again, so back to 1. So we're, shooting it again. This time I tried to move out of the way so he wouldn't step on me. And they're like, no, honey, we need you here. And they moved me right back. So each time we shot that scene, he stepped on my toes each time. So when I woke up the next morning, my foot was completely bruised up.
Oh, no.
From Michael J. Fox.
But that's impressive, though, that he managed to step on your foot all 3 times.
Yeah, correct. Over
That's
and over.
good. That's
Yes.
like perfection.
The perfection.
Yes,
You
exactly.
got it.
He's
Yeah.
like, I stepped on her foot the first time, I gotta do it the next.
Yeah.
Did Michael even acknowledge that?
He did not, and I was gonna relate to when I mentioned earlier about the Tony Danza and the Patrick Swayze and Michael J. Fox. These are the 3 things I remember the most about my 2 years of filming. This is totally off topic, but in one scene for Tony Danza in a movie called Daddy's Little Girl, which starred him and Amy Dolenz, and oh my goodness, Chandler from Matthew
Perry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Matthew
in it
Perry.
as well. I didn't know I was in the way of Tony Danza. I'm standing where I was told. I'm on my mark, and all of a sudden I just feel someone come behind me, literally pick me up, lift me off the ground, and move me. And I look up, and it's Tony Danza. And I said, okay, great.
So you were literally held closer by Tony Danza.
Like, he
Hold
is the
me
boss. This
closer,
man
Tony
picked-
Danza.
Yeah.
Wow, Caitlin.
Yeah, do the baby over there. I like it.
We would like to apologize to Elton John for that.
We don't endorse Elton
Please
John.
don't sue us for that. We'll send you candy. Yeah, whatever.
And this happened to me again on the set of Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze.
That's right.
I did the exact same thing. I'm on my mark. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I hear this, move, I got to get on set or to my, I can't remember what he said exactly. And I'm like, okay, so this person just pushed me out of the way. And I look over and it was Patrick Swayze. And I was like, okay, great. So of those three stories with the Michael J. Fox and the Tony Danza and the Patrick Swayze, one of those people came up to me and found me on purpose to apologize to me. Would you like to guess it, which one person it was?
I would say Tony Danza.
Okay.
Tony.
Okay.
Tony, yeah.
Mushu.
I'm going to say Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
I want to believe Michael J. Fox would be that guy to come back and be like, yo, I'm sorry, but I know you said that he didn't.
You know,
But I want to believe. I want to believe
I
it.
wanna believe.
So,
Okay, Mulder.
all right, so
you don't get
Swayze.
to. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
We're tied at 2-2.
See, we are tied at 2-2, and the answer is Tony Danza.
Okay.
Smartest man alive.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
gentleman came up to me at lunchtime and found me and came right up and said, put his arm on me and says, I am so sorry I had to pick you up and move you like that, but I really needed to get to my mark. And I was like, it's all cool, Tony. It's all good.
Wow.
Kudos to Tony.
Yeah.
Kudos to Tony Danza.
Hold me closer.
Here she goes.
Elton is going to come
Here
for
she
us.
goes. Yep, he sure is. Great.
It's a Friends reference, so those
It is.
guys
I
would
got it.
be.
Yeah, it's
Friends
fitting.
is going to
I
come
get
for
it.
us.
We do
We
not
should be
endorse
afraid
Friends.
of Warner Brothers, not Elton John.
I don't know. They seem to be somebody to worry about.
So how many nights did you say you were there?
This was only one night of filming.
Only one night of filming? That's
Yeah.
awesome. And
yeah.
after that, I mean, what was your reaction when you saw the film? Where did you saw the film? Were you with your friends again when you saw the film?
Yeah, we actually went and saw it in the theater, a group of us, and they were like, oh my gosh, Janet! Because it was like, it was in, when you see it on a phone, it's just minute. But when you're
Right.
seeing it on the big screen, it's like, well, hello, there I am. And my friends were joking about, look at you, you're like the star. Like, just jokes like that. But
Oh, I would have
it's
helped
kind of a
premiere
neat
party.
moment, it's like, wow, because it was so big. And I'm like, wow, hello, that's me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
It's amazing, and obviously, as every job in the world, you got paid. You don't have to say how much,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you got paid
I
for
did
the
get
game.
paid, yes.
You did get paid.
Mhm.
All right, thank you, Bob's, for that.
Ah.
If you had to go back to do it all over again, would there be anything you change? Would there be anything that you kind of regret? Like, man, I wish I would have done that.
Her
or anything
placement,
like
so
that?
she didn't get stepped on.
Yeah, but then she might not be right in the
that-
shot.
But then we don't have the fun story.
That's
Right,
true.
exactly.
I wish I
exactly.
had taken a picture of my bruised feet. And I mean, social media wasn't around then, guys. Let's be honest. But I do wish I had taken a picture of my bruised toes just to be like, because that's some bragging rights there.
Of course.
Yeah, this
Michael
happened to
J.
me last
Fox
night.
stepped
Michael
on
J.
her.
Fox.
Yeah.
That's
If
what
you
I
had,
would
if you had
do
the chance,
differently.
would you be able to share that story with Michael J. Fox?
I would love to share that story with him.
Oh, Michael, if you're
You hear that's
listening to
what
this,
Hi, Michael. Yeah.
Michael,
that
if
was
you're
me.
listening to
When you
this,
see that movie,
you
that
owe
person
Janet
stepped
an
up, it was
apology.
me, Michael.
We hope you put that in your new book.
Don't let Tony
Why didn't you
Danza
meet you
beat
last
you.
night? That's your MegaCon, tell you
We
that,
just need
but-
everyone to tweet that. Just to get that apology.
We
Oh, let's make
you
that
know
a
what?
hashtag,
That's going to be a
shall
new
we?
hashtag.
Hashtag
Apologize, Michael.
Apologize to
Oh,
Janet.
my
Let's get this trending,
Oh my
friends.
goodness. What a mess.
I mean, I for one, I mean, we thank you so much for your coming here and taking your time to do
Yes,
this.
thank you
it's
so much.
It's so awesome to see
I had
your
one more
stories.
question.
Oh, you can ask.
Oh,
me.
I
go
have
ahead,
one-
Caitlin.
I have one
As long
more
as you don't
big-
promise to sing that Tony Danza crap.
I can make no guarantees.
Crap.
Okay, so the scene that you're in is special in particular because not only is it in this, movie, but you're replicating a scene from the
Correct.
very first film.
That is correct, yes.
How did they go about that? Were there monitors on set that were playing the first film? Like,
Absolutely.
how did that work?
The continuity was a lot of different pictures from the first movie being taped up on things. So like in the dressers and the trailers, everything, there were pictures as well as monitors that you're speaking about.
Okay, cool.
Yes, that was done for continuity reasons.
Okay,
yeah.
so you were only in the parking lot scene. You didn't do any
Correct.
filming in the gymnasium for the Enchantment
No.
Under the Sea dance.
No,
Okay.
unfortunately, no. Would have loved to, but nope, wasn't in there.
Awesome. So the night you were on set, like mentioned that you were there with your friends. Did you meet anyone else that you may keep in touch with, like to this day?
I made friends through the years of filming that I kept in touch with for quite a while, but to this day, there's only the ones that I was friends with to begin with that I still keep in touch with.
Nice.
And we still find ourselves in things and send each other clips and
Oh,
stuff when we
cool.
find them, just for a laugh. We're like, oh my gosh, you filmed that, that's so funny.
Nice.
Because
That's
like,
awesome.
different little things like that show up, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I wanted to, since, you were our first guest here,
Ooh.
and we wanted to, this is a little surprise that we obviously, we don't have a lot of funds or anything like that to give, but we wanted to give you this little license
Oh my
tag.
gosh, that's awesome.
Yay.
That's
It's a little
very
license tag of
special.
Out of Time. If we're gonna
Yeah.
take a picture of it with you and then so we,
Perfect, I love
it's
it.
it's not much, but it's a little thank you that we wanted to
Yeah.
give you.
Yeah,
so
thank
for
you
being
so
here.
much.
Our very first guest.
Yes.
Our very
How
first
fun.
guest.
That's awesome.
And then
I love
definitely
it.
we're gonna make sure that Michael J. Fox apologizes.
Yeah, we're gonna get that.
Michael, I'm
There you
waiting
go.
for you.
Yes,
How many years
Michael.
later? I love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
well-
That's
awesome.
30 years later.
Yeah.
Well, us old people got to go to bed early, so we want to thank you again so much for everything. Thank you so much for your amazing story. I'm pretty sure our listeners are appreciating the fact that getting to hear the story from somebody that was actually there, and toes and broken toes and everything like that.
Right,
It's an
yeah.
amazing story to tell. So thank you very much.
You bet.
All right, guys, and as always, whether it be in the past or the future, we will see you next time. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to What the Flux. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WhatTheFlux_pod. Please subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. And be sure to recommend us to your other time-traveling friends.
Hasta la bye-bye.